When you go on a volunteer trip and you go with a group, there's a huge amount of advantage to being there as a team as opposed to being an individual. You have support, you have safety in numbers, you have local, or not local, but people that are from your own culture that you can hang around with, but also talk about things and struggle through different little issues about cultural differences and stuff with. So in preparing for that, it's really important to know what culture you're going to.
To prepare for being a member of a successful team, I would talk about expectations beforehand. Talk about living conditions. Where will we be staying? It's not a Marriott hotel. And what will the food be like? What will the weather conditions be? What will the travel conditions be like? Will we be going by train or by a Land Rover? Get as much information through the internet or through Medical Teams International. They do a wonderful job with preparing team members with background information of the country, the political climate. Educate yourself as much as you possibly can of what to expect.
Most of the time the team will come together and do a debriefing. That's extremely important. You should participate in that if at all possible, even if it's just for 2 or 3 minutes, to give your input, to listen to others. I think we gain a lot of insight in these debriefings, and I think that that propels you because you oftentimes find out that someone else is frustrated about something in particular. Then, if you're going to voice a problem, anytime you're going to voice a problem or voice a concern, you have to begin right away thinking about what kind of an approach to solving that problem. So you come not only with your problems or you come with your concerns, but you also come with some approaches to solve those problems. So that's part of what we do.
And I think it's important, though, whatever team that you have. I was fortunate enough to kind of pick my team, pick the person that I went with, somebody that I worked with. He was a coworker. We had taught together, so we didn't have to kind of go over getting to know each other. So it was an easy transition for us to just kind of overcome and adapt. So I think that was an important part of being successful in Sri Lanka.
To create a successful team, I think number one on the list is communication. If I were team leading, I think that I would start with a briefing immediately, maybe even before we left the United States. If not, certainly by the time that we arrived, I would try to spend personal time with each single team member.
As a team, we all have different gifts and different skills and different jobs, and you just used whatever you need to use to make things happen. And that's the beauty of being on a team, I think. That's the fun.
I'm a nurse, but I frequently am a pharmacist because I have good pharmacy skills that I've learned from it being a need that someone works in pharmacy. So I think the goal for partnerships are figure out how to accomplish medical team goals using your partner's strengths and just support each other as a team member. Your little team that came from Portland, Oregon and all over the world to become part of medical teams needs to stay as a team. We all have gifts, we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses when we travel. Some of those might be you can't sleep on a strange bed, or some of those might be, for me, communication. I like to know, is everything okay at home? We like to get to know our team members. I think it helps us support each other, uplift each other, and use each other's strengths to their best benefit.
When we talk about coming together for a debriefing or 5-minute devotional time or whatever it might be, and even if you're not a believer, it's important to just come together for a camaraderie time and keep that time positive. That's extremely important.
There was one young lady who was totally unprepared for what we were going to encounter, living conditions, the heat. She was overcome by the heat. A young girl who'd never traveled, Our living conditions were less than desirable. Our beds were pretty rustic, spiders in the room, and she was overcome by the realities of the living conditions for those people. She ended up staying in bed for 3 days. It was a challenge, but it was overcome by encouraging her, praising her for when she did come into the clinic. We told her that we were grateful that she was part of our team. She was needed. It was so important that she be there and come to do the work that she signed up for. We were grateful at the end of the day when she felt encouraged. She did such a good job, and we praised her. At the end of the trip, she was glad that she came. I was proud of her.
The main thing is always to keep your team safe so that nobody gets sick, because you wait a long time to come to a foreign country to serve. And if you're too sick to serve, it's very frustrating. So our goal is to keep all of our volunteers healthy by sleeping well and resting and try and keep the stress down and have a little bit of fun. So we usually have some games or some music or something that reminds us of home, that gives us a break from the reality of what things are like. And that builds team spirit, and it makes you get to know everyone, and just gives you a break from the intensity of what happens.